Donald Trump's success in 2016 honestly makes sense to me. It does. If I look back at it, it's like, okay, it was a weird time. The nation, Hillary Clinton, for whatever reason, they justified or whatever, had a lot of baggage with the American populace. And Donald Trump came along. He was known as being rich and being successful, which is all that matters, apparently, in the United States. And like it or not, Donald Trump, I've been trying to form a way to do a video on this, in that what Donald Trump's appeal is it's the racism and stuff. Hey, we got all that. But Donald Trump is genuine. And when people confuse being genuine with being honest, because he is not honest. There's nothing honest about Donald Trump, but he's genuine in that, like, for example, if you watched Kamala Harris speak, or you watched Joe Biden speak, or Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, anybody, like any random politician, you watch them on stage and they give their speech. If you go talk to them one-on-one with no cameras around, they're not going to sound like that. They're not going to have that stilted politician speak. They're not going to have focus group terms and everything. They're not going to dance around issues and not say I 100% know if I talk to Donald Trump one-on-one, he'd sound exactly like he sounds on stage. Yes. And that's appealing to people because I remember I had a boss, a station commander was in the Army, and he would say that, I just don't think Donald Trump's lying to me. And it's like, you could name 5 lies that Donald Trump's made in the past, 3 days. He'd say, yeah, but just something about it. And that's it. Because no one in real life knows someone who talks like a politician. Like if one of your buddies started talking like a politician, it would creep you out. It'd be super strange. But everyone knows one person who talks like Donald Trump, or like the cadence and the crass language and everything. And honestly, if you didn't, I hate to sound like an elitist, I really try not to here, but if you're not in certain social circles, let's say you didn't go to college or something, 5 or 6 people that talk like that. And it's kind of appealing to a lot of folks. So I got that in 2016, but after 9 years of this stuff, I cannot believe it's still working. I really can't. I'm really disappointed in a lot of people.
Yeah, I think you've hit it right on the head with that. He's not obviously telling the truth, but he's being genuine. I think that a lot of the capture around the Donald Trump character is the story that he is telling you. And, fiction is not a lie. It is a fiction. And
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, as someone who appreciates movies and stuff, like when you're watching Star Wars and you're, or any other iconic, name a franchise or a movie or whatever, when you're being told a story, you're not sitting there, listening, watching the story saying to yourself, I'm being told a lie. You know that you are being given something genuine. That thing that is genuine just so happens to be set in space and is therefore not true. This intersects really well with religion too, but that people have bought into a story and they love the story, and it does not actually matter to people. I don't think anymore. I can't allow myself to believe that it doesn't really matter to people at this point whether or not it is true or whether or not it can be verified or whether or not anything that Donald Trump says has any empirical value whatsoever. They just love the enthusiasm with which the story is being told to them.
I agree 1,000%. I was so glad you mentioned how there's a lot of times because I wrote down religion right when you said people are in love with the feeling and the narrative or the legend of this, and whether it's real or not doesn't matter, which does make it strange when people try to insist that it's real. That's like the religion. So I grew up really religious and I was a fundamentalist Christian and all that. And it's really easy to believe that way where you don't got to really do a lot of critical thinking or whatever. But this is 2024, folks. Demons aren't real. I hate to break it to people. I'm sorry. You don't have to believe this. And Jordan Peterson kind of goes, Jesus Christ. I'm not advocating Jordan Peterson here, but by any stretch of the imagination. But Jordan Peterson likes to point to something that is true, that what does he call them? Like motifs or something, like the David and Goliath story, and how that story has value in it. Yeah, it does. And that could go with anything. So the example I was thinking of today is, I don't know if you watch Dragon Ball Z or when you're kids. Okay, all right. So I talk about Gohan. And when Gohan turns into a Super Saiyan 2, that moment means something to me. That moment carries a shitload of weight. Because when I see that happen, I see Gohan's progression as a child who's unsure of himself, whose father is the greatest hero on planet Earth. He has all these expectations that people have beset upon him. and he meets them. He meets the moment. He fulfills his dreams, his aspirations, and everyone else's expectations of what he could possibly be. And like that story of like reaching the heights that you know you're capable of, but you've never had the strength to do so. That's powerful. It means a hell of a lot. I don't need to pretend that Super Saiyans exist, right? I don't need to actually argue that, oh, actually, no, Gohan was a real person. Like he was actually alive. In fact, it means kind of less in that way because you know this is a fantastical story. And it's weird that people try to cram reality into these stories when there's no need to.
Yeah, you just you mentioned Jordan Peterson. You just actually succinctly created an intersection between the one good thing about Jordan Peterson and almost everything else that is wrong with him, which is that like as soon as he starts talking about the power of metaphor and the power of a motif and a symbol, it's like, okay, I'm like, yes, this is true.
All on board.
All aboard. And then he's like, and then it's real. And or oftentimes he can't actually be squeezed to tell you whether or not he actually believes that it's real. But you know, he is leading people to consider these things plausible. The Virgin Mary image is something I saw recently that he was harping on, and I believe it was Richard Dawkins asked him, yes, but like, do you actually believe that that's true? And he just crumbled, like he could not give you an answer. But also like the Gohan thing, that moment. Speaking of like, I mean, thinking back to like moments in my childhood that were formative to me, moments that like let me know that I wanted to be a storyteller. Seeing Gohan turn into a Super Saiyan 2 for the first time was one of those oh shit moments that like radically defined the next 10 years of like what kind of stories I was motivated to towards moving towards.
Man, it is literary malpractice that Dragon Ball was allowed to continue one episode beyond Gohan defeating Cell. I just like I think about it all the time and how just like how the story progressed. Goku, Earth's savior, gives his life trying to save the planet, fails to actually save the planet. Gohan rises expectation. He is his father's son. He's carrying on the mantle. Goku's greatest rival, Vegeta, realizes that, oh my God, like Goku actually cared about other people. That's what makes him stronger than me. And it took the loss of his own son to figure this out. Decides he's never gonna fight again, leave it in his. It's fucking perfect. Like it is perfect. And the fact that it continued on, someone needs to go to jail, man. There should be storytelling jail for letting the story go on further than that. But look, capitalism ruins art. I get it that the money needs to be made. There's a property people like, and they're gonna keep making it. But yeah, well, didn't expect to go down that road. Oh, Jordan Peterson. I want to say real quick. Jordan Peterson is that. What I hate about Jordan Peterson, and honestly, a lot of the red pill, like incel guys, even like Andrew Tate or something, what I hate the most about these folks is that, honestly, like 30% of what they say is really good advice. I fucking hate it. Like, I hate that that's true. That Jordan Peterson got famous for the whole clean your room thing. Yeah. That's actually, guys, clean your room. You'll feel better about yourself. Like just walking into a clean room feels better than walking into a dirty one.
Yes.
If you want to be more attractive to the opposite sex, don't focus entirely upon that. Focus on yourself. Get a hobby. Go to the gym. Take care of your appearance. Comb your hair every now and then. Eat right. You'll feel better. And that confidence will make you more attractive to not only women, but to men too. It's like, all right, that shit is actually really solid. And there's a lot of teenage boys or young men who would really do well to hear that. And then they go fucking off the rails. And it's like, women are evil and society is out to get you. And the little guy can't get a fair shake and it's unfair. So what you need to do is make society unfair in your favor. And it's just poison all the way down after that. I hate that.
And the problem is only made worse when they take things that work in a micro and force them into a macro. So like the clean your room thing, right? That's on you. That is literally you.
Yes.
As soon as you make that a political statement, because in reality we're existing in a society where there's more than one room. You know what I'm saying? And it can't all be your responsibility. It cannot all be on the individual. So the very individualistic sort of like take care of your own shit mindset, take care of your health, take care of yourself. All of that works, but it is not a solution to larger societal problems. The clean your room thing doesn't like clean the neighborhood,
Right.
you know? And as soon as Jordan Peterson takes these principles and says, okay, well, now we're going to build a philosophy of like how to interact with governments, how to interact with like social collectives and stuff based on these like very personal principles that one should probably have, everything just crumbles as it should.
Yeah, and lobsters are involved there somehow or
Lobsters
another or
somewhere,
whatever.
yeah, dragons
It's-
occasionally.
It's dragons. Yeah, this is the problem with conservative ideology. Like that is what you just spelled out is the exact problem with it. Is that it will take. You know how conservatives say if you want to succeed at work, what you need to do is be a guy who shows up 5 minutes early. Be someone who's dependable. That hey, if I give TJ this task, I know it's going to get done. Do what you signed up to do, what you're getting paid to do. And be likable, be nice, and you'll probably succeed. Now, there's nothing wrong with that advice. Actually, it's actually very good. It's what I recommend doing. It's what I've done my whole life, and it's worked for me. However, it can't work for everyone. Like it literally can't, because if you have 10 people, there's only one promotion. If you all follow that advice to the letter, still only one person getting that job. It's not you. It's fucking over the 9 other people. So just because it works in the micro, like you said, it's not a solution for the macro. And conservatives lose that. They lose it on everything because good advice for a person is not applicable to the entire population or a system. They could refuse to acknowledge the existence of a system. So yeah,
then they will complain when that system they believe is being turned on them. So someone else got this job that I worked really hard for. Yeah, you know, someone else got this job. That must be, you know, that must be rigged against me. You know, oh well, they got it because they were a woman. You know, like that sort of like stereotype is really how they think about the world in a lot of cases. You know, I don't want to speak for every conservative, but at this point,
you can.
Yeah, if you're voting for Donald Trump, like you might as well be lumped in here, right?
Yeah, it's kind of how they view racism. How conservatives view racism has always been funny to me, because your standard line from a conservative or Republican is that racism doesn't exist. It's not real. But to the extent that it does, it's white men who are affected by it the most. Like that's honestly how they look at it. It's like it's not real unless it actually is real against me. That
right,
which is like their entire philosophy. That is just it's all focused on selfishness. I'm amazed it's actually as strong as it is, really, with all the evidence people have against it. But